In a world of Johnnies, Timmies, and Spikes, we must all arrive at the win condition.
Cantrips are good, guys. I would love to see full art Snowlands.
So imagine a creature with menace and rampage. Hello again and welcome back to the Win Condition podcast. My name is Sean. I'm your host. I'm here with my co-host Greg. How's it going, Greg?
It's doing good today.
Excellent. Wonderful. So we got some interesting news to talk about today, some new developments, some results. But before we get too far into it, Greg, how has your week been?
It's been slow, but otherwise good.
That's good. Sometimes slow is good.
Yeah.
You know, not everything needs to be quickened.
Just because you're thinking about that card doesn't mean you gotta punt it.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. Well, if we get around to it today, we
Wait,
can...
if you quickened your pun, does that mean it would happen before what I said?
Actually, it would, and I'd get to draw a card.
Oh,
So
no.
there you go. All right. All right.
Cantrips
Well,
are good,
anyway,
guys.
they are. And before we get too derailed, we want to mention to everybody that this show is brought to you by Flipside Gaming at flipsidegaming.com. Go ahead and order any gaming products you need. They have a vast array of gaming products to order, lots of content to take in. It's just a great site to check out. Head on over to flipsidegaming.com, and any order that you make over $10, use that promo code WINCONDITION in all caps to get 10% off of your purchase. And your contributions will help fund our future show giveaways, which we are in the middle of one right now, and we'll touch on that at the end of the episode to remind y'all how you can win a Torrential Gear Hulk straight up for free.
Cool.
For free!
I want
Anyway,
one of those.
I know, right? Well, you traded me a couple of them back in the day.
I know, and now I need another because I made a horrible deck.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? You better enter our contest. See if you can win. No, I'm just kidding.
Sure.
Can't do that. Sorry. But anyway, so, yeah, we wanted to start us off by heading straight into the Spike Pit. So, here in the Spike Pit, we wanted to talk about a couple of things. First of all, very interesting. Something has changed in regard to formats for PTQs. Greg, what could I be talking about here?
There was an announcement today from the mothership talking about how they're going to be changing how they run PTQs. Now, of course, there's just some minor things about how they're changing. They're doing the cutoffs at 8 rounds, it looks like, on day 1. And they have added back in legacy PTQs.
Legacy PTQs?
Yeah. With everything that's been doing so well with this team constructed format for their events, they decided, well, there's a lot of people that actually will still play Legacy. Why not keep running them?
I mean, they did print Eternal Masters recently, kind of trying to get the ball rolling with some Legacy here.
Yeah,
but
I think this was a planned idea for quite some time. And,
interesting.
Yeah.
And they have iconic Masters coming out very soon, hoping to bolster some collections for other players.
Yep.
So, I mean, how do you feel about this? I've got a mixed bag going on here, but how do you feel about Legacy coming back into the PTQ format?
I've got no problem with that. Honestly, I've played Legacy before, and it's really a lot of fun. It's like, is it turn 4? Have I won? Are you unable to play spells by turn 4? I win. So it's an interesting format to play for competitive players because the field is so open as to what you can play. I mean, you got things like just so much.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's 38 lands.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I for one am actually just incredibly jealous. I love the idea of being able to play Legacy at a competitive level. I unfortunately do not have the pieces at all for any deck
Whoa, whoa,
whatsoever.
whoa, whoa, whoa. You have all the pieces you need to get those cards. All you got to do is sell your car.
Tell my what?
Sell your car.
Sell my car. Oh
Sell your car.
yeah.
Yeah, then you can afford to play.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I said I had a mixed bag of emotions here. Let me just start off by saying I think that this is awesome. I think that Legacy is probably one of the best formats for Wizards to showcase. It's the oldest format. I mean, saving Vintage, but still, I mean, you get to play with almost every card they've ever printed.
Yeah.
Decks are extremely complicated, and the thought process that goes behind every single turn is so incredibly intense. And I mean, I do own a lot of older cards, and just the thought of being able to play with them again seems just so exciting. I mean, save the dual lands, save all the other stuff that's restrictive to get into the format. But as just a format, I think Legacy is fantastic. I would love to participate in a PTQ that involves Legacy. Um, and I do think that, yeah, with the printing of Eternal Masters and Iconic Masters coming out, there's a lot of stuff that people can get their hands on. And you know what? If they have aspirations to get really deep into Legacy and want to be super competitive, maybe they could trade in some of their modern staples or standard staples and get themselves a Legacy deck if they have one of those PTQs coming up in the near future. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, again, I think this is awesome. I think this is great. It's really going to expose Legacy to the Magic community at a much greater level. Um, and again, the only downsides are just the availability and cost to enter. If you don't already have a lot of the cards to play, you're going to have to, yeah, it's going to cost you kind of an arm and a leg. But how you go about doing that is totally and completely up to you. But overall, I think that this is fantastic. I mean, you've got your standard, your sealed, your limited, other limited formats, modern, any format that Magic can support. I
Mm-hmm.
feel should be involved somehow in some kind of a PTQ. Do you
And
agree?
I do agree. And then, of course, our first event coming to us next year is going to be that Team Constructed in Santa Clara.
Yes.
Kind of
And I
excited to watch that or be
yeah, and I
there.
think
I'll
Team
probably
Construct
be there.
yeah, and then Team Construct events are a great way to get Legacy involved into the mix because I would say that would you say that there's more standard players than modern players out there right now?
Always.
Always? Okay. And then obviously at a very, very low third you have Legacy, but these events are awesome. You get exposed
Well,
to
here's the funny thing though. Most players have there's almost always a standard, a legacy, and a modern player in a group of people, and to bring them just together to play it's pretty good.
yeah. No, absolutely. And I know there's a lot of podcasts you can listen to that talk about legacy. I know I listen to Leaving a Legacy as well as the Spike Feed and others ones out there definitely will talk heavy about legacy and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful format. Um, so yeah, I think all signs point to yes that this is a great move
Yeah.
by Wizards. Getting the word out there, getting people exposed and interested to different formats is always a good thing.
Although
We
there was one note looking over all these events going on, there's a poor choice that was brought to my attention. I saw this on Twitter, and I can't remember the handle of the person that put this on, but they're hosting an event, a standard event in Orlando, Florida, in the middle of August. Um, this just seems like a bad idea. I
You
don't
mean
know if you've
for
ever been to Florida. I was there in July, and I couldn't handle the heat. This seems like a very poor choice for an event to be held there for the time frame.
yeah. I unfortunately have never been to Florida, so I can't vouch for that either way. But um, yeah, that's interesting. Definitely, definitely very interesting.
hmm
I mean, obviously Florida's got a lot to offer, and traveling is definitely a huge incentive for these people to want to pursue, traveling, grinding Magic tournaments and stuff like that. But
Especially since they're going to be changing up how many Pro Tour qualifies you have to attend to be get an invitation awarded.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
depends.
yeah. Okay. Well, either way, um, that sounds like a wonderful move. And then you'd also mentioned that there was a team constructed event coming to California
Yeah,
sometime.
no. January, beginning of the next year, January 5th through the 7th, there's a team constructed event in Santa Clara.
There you go. So why
Yeah.
not get your feet wet, see if you're down with all that legacy stuff, and
Well, if you want to be ready for that, start testing now.
yeah, yeah, it's going to be coming up quick. We also got a couple interesting sets coming up before then, so Wizards is going to have a lot
Mm.
on their plate, serving it up to us players quite frequently, and it's going to be a good time to be a Magic player.
I do want to
Um,
throw one other thing out while we're talking about these announcements and grinding. And did you hear about
yes.
what they're doing for products for this draft season until the end of the year?
No. Enlighten me,
No,
please.
I am going to enlighten you. So, starting with this weekend, the Dino Size Draft Weekend, which, if you don't know what that is, it's going to be a draft format where everybody gets posters. And I mean, who doesn't want to do 4-pack draft in Ixalan? Anyhow, starting with this weekend, if you play in 6 draft events, so that includes this one, your local F&Ms, the Iconic Masters draft weekend, the Unstable draft weekend, you will get 2 standard showdown packs after 6 games.
Wow, that's a pretty good reward.
I mean, ain't nothing better than getting masterpieces.
Because each one of them has a masterpiece in it.
Well, I mean, the chances are higher than opening a case.
True, true, very true. Um, yeah, that's exciting. I know I want to make it out to one of these draft weekends and try to get my hands on one of these standard showdown packs. Um, Still
Well,
haven't
remember
gotten out
that's
to
six events.
6 events. Okay,
6 of them, yeah. I
got it.
know I'm going to try to do this Dino weekend probably on Sunday.
Hmm. Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Um, all right. Well, I wanted to take us in a slightly different direction here. I wanted to talk a little bit about this previous weekend's SCG Open in Cincinnati. It was a modern tournament.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. If you guys weren't watching it, I feel bad for you. I only caught a couple things. I think the most interesting was a storm deck scooping at 2 minutes.
What caused that scoop again? I heard it was
I think it was there's a turn 1 unclaimed territory. They named
yeah.
humans. And it was like a turn 2 dual land or like a shock land that they took 2 damage on, and they go meddling mage. And the storm player looks at him and says,
Oh,
"Oh,
that's right.
okay, we'll go to the next game."
That's right. And they named Grape Shot.
Oh, did they name Grape Shot? I didn't hear them name something because the sound was off. But I mean,
They
a
had
turn
no
2
answer.
kind of edges the game. You
Yeah.
lose.
I mean, game one, Storm. I had the privilege of playing against it at that modern tournament that I went to a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
and game one was just dirty because all the Storm player wants to do is, do their own thing and storm off as soon as
Yeah.
possible. And I thought that I was just completely hosed for the rest of the tournament. I'm sorry, for the rest of the match. But it goes to show you when you sideboard a little correctly and you think about it a little bit, there's definitely ways to play around it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, with the only answer, being a game-ending grape shot, it is hard to come back against a meddling mage naming your only win condition. So
Yeah.
um, that's kind of rough. But The winning deck was very
Whoa,
interesting.
whoa, that was the winning deck that I was just talking about.
Wait, which tournament were you talking about?
The modern event had Meddling Mage in the deck.
Oh, you're right.
It's a human.
That's right. We were talking about Storm, and we're talking about the deck that beat the Storm deck, and that was the 5-color Humans deck,
Yeah.
piloted by Collins Mullen. And this is very, very interesting. I like this list here. It's definitely starting off with the 4 Champion of the Parish, which is a 1-drop white creature that says whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Champion of the Parish. Um, then you've got your Noble Hierarchs adding in some mana ramp there.
Don't forget they're
Um,
humans.
they're humans. Everything in here is a human. And then the only other 1-drop I think they're running is Aether Vial, which seems pretty, obvious. I mean, we've seen it in Merfolk constantly, so why not put it in the humans deck as well when your average mana cost is probably around 2. So it's also running Reflector Mage. Can't play it in standard, or couldn't while it was legal, so why not play it in modern? Um, Definitely seems like a great blowout in multiple situations.
Oh, and don't forget about that Mantis Rider. Oh,
The Mantis Rider. Yes, not a mantis, it's a human. Human monk riding atop the mantis. 3/3 flying vigilance haste for a blue, a red, and a white. Wow. That's a very, very powerful card, don't you
I
think?
mean, well, yes, but usually it's not swinging for 3, it's swinging for 4, or maybe even 5.
True. True. It wouldn't help if humans had a lord
I don't
to
know.
buff them up a little more.
I hear there's a good lord that might transform.
What? What
Yeah,
card are you talking about?
it's Mayor of Averbrook. Meyer of Averbrook.
Yes, the Meyer of Avabra. For 1 and a green, you get a 1/1 human advisor werewolf. Oh my gosh, that rivals Coiling Oracle for creature types.
Oh
Um,
God.
you've got other human creatures you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform Mayor of Avabrook. And while that's not necessarily as important, the flip side of the card says Howlpack Alpha, and it basically poops out werewolf tokens and buffs them as well. But we want to keep this mayor on this side so that it buffs all the humans in this human deck. Um, and then you had mentioned Meddling Mage. It's running 4 Meddling Mages. I mean, Modern is a wide open format, but by the time they drop that first land, maybe even play their first spell, you're going to have an idea of what deck you're up against. So this Meddling Mage seems incredibly strong. Kind of like, what is the dagger to the heart that you're going to choose, And that kind of gives, I mean, in this Storm case, it was Grape Shot, boom,
Gone.
seal him up, send him off, he's done.
And then after that, you get both Thalias. The Thalia that makes non-creature spells cost more. Seems good. And the
Which seems
Thalia
really good in this deck, as you really don't have any non-creature spells except for
And-
those Aether Vials.
And then you had the Thalia of your opponent's creatures and non-basic lands enter the battlefield tapped.
No more fetching
Oof.
for you, or at least not the turn they come down.
Right? I mean,
And
talk
don't
about
try-
pushing you back.
Don't try to play creatures that block, because they'll come in tapped.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the last Thalia card, just to round out the 2-drop spectrum, is Thalia's Lieutenant, which is a generic and a white human soldier. When it enters the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter on each other human you control, and whenever another human enters the battlefield, it gets a 1/1 counter itself.
As awesome as that card is, Greg,
What?
this is not rounding out the 2-drop spot. We have a brand new card in the 2-drop spot.
Wait, is that a human pirate?
It is a human pirate with flying. This card, of course, that I'm talking about is the Kite Sail Freebooter straight out of Ixalan. For 1 and a black, you get a 1/2 flying human pirate. And when Kite Sail Freebooter, enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it, exile that card until Kite Sail Freebooter leaves the battlefield.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
So-
pretty strong.
You're not running your Thoughtseize or Inquisitions of Kozilek, but Kite Sail Freebooter can definitely get you do the job you need it to do with a deck that operates this fast. I mean, this
I
deck
know.
looks like it just moves blisteringly fast.
I mean, you've only got what, 1, 2, 3 cards here that are a 3-drop, and then the lands. It runs,
Yes.
of course, 4 Ancient Ziggurat, because they barely run anything that's not a creature, so the card's really strong. Counter Souls, so you can protect your humans and produce any color. And then 4 unclaimed territories. Then on the other cards, it runs a Hallowed Fountain, a Temple Garden, 3 Windseths to find them, and 2 Horizon Canopies, and a Solitary Plains for when that Pet the Exile hits something.
Yep. You need to be able to go get something.
And
So,
really, the Plains is pretty good. Then this sideboard, man.
yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that you're running 12 lands that can produce any color to cast a creature spell, there's no reason why not to have an entire sideboard of creatures. I mean, it's 15 cards, 15 creatures, 15 humans. I mean, this is amazing synergy right here.
What do you think of that Zathra Necromancer?
I think that Zathra Necromancer is hot.
Ugh.
Oh, that is so good. Because, I mean, even when it's out, let's say they, Wrath somehow, like, Damnation or Batu's Last Reckoning or whatever, you're going to get those zombies. And it's so good,
No, it's really strong.
This deck is so streamlined and so focused on creatures that it's not even running like one of the strongest cards in the format in Collected Company, which says a lot about how committed Collins Mullen was about doing this human thing. This is a piece of work right here. I absolutely love this deck. I mean, the technology included on all of these human bodies is exactly what he needs to be doing. And it's so good. I absolutely love this deck. I'd mentioned to you earlier that the only other real powerful humans deck that I kind of remember in the past for Modern was that Naya Human Blitz deck.
Yep.
Where it wasn't even humans. It was just Naya Blitz. It was like Champion of the Parish into Burning Tree Emissary multiple times into something else, maybe a Gore Clan Rampager or something like that.
Oh, Wooly Thoktar was pretty good too.
True. But that definitely seemed like a deck that out the gates was either going to kill you or just fizzle out. This deck seems like it's got some serious staying power and will grow, very similar to the Merfolk decks that we see. Now, it doesn't have the ability to counter spells like Curse Catcher and whatnot, but who needs to when you're just outplaying, outvaluing your opponent?
A lot of the burn decks and removal decks just got to a point it's like, you have too much of a board presence. I can't actually deal with what you keep playing.
Yeah, I mean, and okay, you mentioned the sideboard here. Let's go through some of the other net decks that you'd be running up against. I mean, if you're going up against Death's Shadow or even Dredge, I mean,
your
you've got
Anafenza's busted.
Yeah, Anafenza. It's like you can't dredge, you can't put stuff in your graveyard, and then for Affinity, like
the Vithian Renegades.
Yeah, you're just gonna blow stuff up,
And then against
like,
Storm, you're like, Aethersorn Canonist?
Aethersorn Canonist, exactly. And then you got those Lingering Souls. Hey, no problem. I got Izzet Static Casters for days. He's got 2 of those in the sideboard. And it's like, do you have Abrupt Decays? Well, I've got a Mirran Crusader. And just,
It's got a lot of options, yeah.
Yep, you're going to go long game? I'm going to throw my Tireless Trackers in there. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this deck seems really strong. It looks like a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot. Might have to go and build this sometime soon. I actually think I have quite a...
I don't know how I feel about the Horizon Canopies. I understand that their card draw. I think it'd be better off as a Mutavault.
You could probably get away with switching those out. Absolutely. Funny story about Horizon Canopy, and I hate myself for telling this, but when I was when I would go to this shop back in Castro Valley, they had these old packs. They actually had Time Spiral packs, and they were selling them at regular price, like $4. This was maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, but I opened a Horizon Canopy, and I was like, sweet, this card seems pretty good, and unfortunately, it got sent through the washing machine. So the only Horizon canopy I have ever owned was ripped to shreds. Sad face. Oh well.
There's
Anyway,
worse things.
yeah, there's worse things. Sure. Yeah. Um, but anyway, good thing it's coming out in that iconic Masters.
Yeah,
Looks
we're kind of excited for that.
looks like the median price on that bad boy is going to be about 44.64 according to TCGplayer.com.
It's better than its current of like 80.
True. True. I mean, Noble Hierarch rebounding to $60 after its reprints in that Modern Masters set. I mean, who says reprints kill prices? Not this guy.
I do.
Well, you know what else I'm excited about? That
What?
Mayor of Averbrook finally doubling in price. I have like 2 regular foils, 2 promo foils, and a whole bunch of regular ones of this guy. So he's going to need to do a little more work before I start selling him off. But still, very happy to see him getting some run out here.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's take a little walk, and we've got some news and announcements. So why don't we head on over to our next section, as foretold. So
I forgot
we
what we're
will
gonna talk about here.
we will be discussing certain things such as news and announcements in this segment. And if you were fortunate enough to be on Twitch Wednesday at around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you would have been able to watch Wizards have a couple representatives come and talk about MTG Arena.
Yeah, the replacement or possibly not of MTGO, because as we already know, Magic is trying to trend to everything else, and Hearthstone is beating them in the digital market.
Yep. Yep. Hearthstone is kicking MTGO in the digital groin. So
And all it's showing them is like Wizards now knows that there's definitely people out there wanting to play and just not being able to because it's not there in front of them.
Right. Right. Well, fear not, as the closed beta will be made available coming up very soon.
I know. What was that date? I want to say they're going to start getting to the priority list November 3rd and hope
Yeah.
for full access by November 30th.
I think you're right. And if you want to know all the complete details on that in terms of dates, you could definitely head over to the mothership. They'll have all that information for you
Yeah.
there. But just some key points from their announcements that they had was they've had such a wonderful outcry for people who want to participate in this beta that they are increasing the amount of slots available for people to come in and do the stress test. They want as many people in there as possible. They even said they want players to try to break their servers.
They want people to break their stuff.
Exactly. That's what stress testing this stuff is all about. They want to see how much stress they can go through, to provide this product for, obviously this isn't going to be close to the total number of people who will play it once it's fully released, but they just want to get an idea. So they're opening it up to a whole lot more people. I'm pretty sure you can still go and sign up if you haven't already. And there will be a video lock ban, I don't know what you call it, restriction
NDA.
on streaming.
A video NDA.
A video NDA, thank you. So people will not be allowed to stream it on their own. Wizards is going to kind of control the flow of streaming from here on out just so they can make sure that it's a good viewing experience for everybody and they get a good idea of what's to come. They're still working a lot of stuff out, but they want to give it to us as soon as possible. They made a point of repeating that constantly. They want to give us this product as soon as possible, but make sure that it's,
Works.
not going to bug up on us constantly. So
They
we
want a
appreciate
quality
that.
thing.
Yeah, totally.
Can't blame
Some people were tuning in expecting to see gameplay footage. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, but you can still go on YouTube and look up some of the old footage from when they debuted it already. And if you're going to be going to any Grand Prix in the next couple of weeks, they will have booths where you will be allowed to try it out. So if you can make it out to these Grand Prix, even if you're not participating in the event, there will be MTG Arena booths up so that you can see it in action and maybe even try it for yourself. So,
Well, that sounds kind of cool.
yeah, totally. And they're going to have support for Ixalan. They're talking about eventually working in some cards from Amonkhet, because they've made it apparent they wanted to focus.
They've already got cards all the way back to Kaladesh. It's just that they want to make sure and focus. They're going to focus on Ixalan 1v1 constructed first off, because they want to focus in on that. And then as they progress through the month, they're going to unlock more and more things, as they put it, turn on switches.
Exactly. Exactly, yeah. And lots of people have been asking, how are the financials going to work? There's no real solid answers for that yet. They're really just focusing on the actual game itself.
So I sat down Wednesday night and talked to a guy that deals in backpack trading.
Yes.
And one of the interesting things that I brought up to him, like just a thought on a whim, is that just if you may think, what if anybody that was on Moto got offered a payout to move to Arena, like a card-to-card payout?
What percentage are we talking here?
I don't know what it might be, but a tick for ticks, like they would buy out what you have for ticks and translate it into Arena.
Okay, so then you'd have to put a monetary value on the ticks, because I believe
there's a monetary value on ticks. It's about $2.
Okay, so
$2.30-ish.
I mean, that would obviously be an MTGO player's dream come true.
I mean, to not lose out on the Moto players and not alienate them. It's the only idea I can think of that's good.
Right, and the only downside to doing that would be if you leave MTGO sooner rather than later, then you're going to lose your ability to play things like Vintage, Legacy, Modern, Online. So I guess there's sort of a, pros versus cons here, but I'm sure people will take whatever avenue appeals to them most. So what I would hate to have happen is for a majority of these people to shift over, and you're left with people who are on MTGO looking to play games who don't have as many people to play with, and so then they feel kind of forced to move over to Arena. But again, without support for some of these people's favorite formats, they're going to want to stick to MTGO as long as possible. So,
well, I mean, this is just a thought. I don't know if they're going to do it, but
could
you
be.
think.
Yeah, it could be. A lot of people are clamoring for it to be free to play, where you can unlock cards as you play more and more, and you can also, which is how Hearthstone does it, but you could also pay money to open more packs or maybe get specific cards. Who knows? They're not going to go over the financial ramifications of Arena until a further date. And again, they're really just focusing right now on the actual gameplay, and the ability for this client to support this many people and this kind of information. So, anyway, good informative session.
There was one other thing about this. A lot of people were asking about Twitch add-ons, because Twitch has a lot of add-ons onto it. And over the course between now and releasing, they're definitely going to look at all of the options and find out what will work best for them. So you're not being left out. They're going to look into specific ones for streaming to make life best.
Nice.
Yeah.
We like the best.
We all like the best.
Yes, indeed.
So.
Okay. Well, we also got some news and tidbits and information on a couple of promo cards that are going to be available in the near future. Two in particular. Greg, what two cards are these?
I don't know. You
don't know? You told me you knew. You told me you knew.
I do know them. I'm being secretive. We've got, for your PTQs, is going to be Mutavault starting next year, which is kind of awesome.
Mutavault with, oh my gosh.
John Avon art.
Ooh, yes. But help me out here. What's that enchantment from Avacyn Restored? The green and 2 that says during your upkeep, reveal the top card. If it shares a creature type with the type on your board,
you
put
thinking of Descendants Path by
That's
Therese
it.
Nielsen artwork?
That's it. Descendants Path and Mutavault. Freaking sweet combo.
I
Love
mean,
it.
it is.
Cast your Emrakul right there.
Yeah. No, it's totally true.
Yep. Yep. I was
Um,
running that when Mutavault was in standard with a I can't even remember. I'm sorry. Let's continue.
sure. So then, for your regional PTQs, a much more exciting card to be reprinted, you have Noble Hierarch.
Yes. This
So,
Noble Hierarch art looks pretty darn good too.
yeah. No,
I mean, the OG art is pretty cool. Um, but there's some times where you see new art on cards or logos that you're not too hot on. But I definitely like this new art for Noble Hierarch. I'd run either one of them. Especially seeing this in foil will be very exciting.
yeah. No, it'll be very nice. It'll look great.
So, do you think it's time to sell out of your Noble Hierarchs right now?
No.
Probably not. No, that's ridiculous. I mean, Liliana the Veil was a promo for what, a year, and I mean, look at her price. She's doing just fine. So these kinds of promos aren't going to affect the price necessarily as much, but definitely some really cool cards, modern staples, if you will, in the correct decks. But yeah, both very exciting cards, very awesome promos to be getting. So great job, Wizards. Awesome. We love it.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so moving on from some news here. One thing that we wanted to talk a little bit about, we actually threw a poll up on Twitter that was very it's curious, and it's kind of foreshadowing, what is to come over on Dominaria once we get there eventually.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yes. But the question that we posed was, what mechanic would you like to see when we return to Dominaria? Now, we were only allowed 4 slots, and the 4 that we chose because we felt like it was proprietary to Dominaria. Some of these abilities that originated on Dominaria we've seen reprinted in sets, further along Magic's timeline, but the 4 that we chose to focus in on here were Buyback, Rampage, Cumulative Upkeep, and Snow Permanence. Now, Greg, I know you were excited in particular about one of these. Which one were you most excited about?
I was most excited about Snow Permanence. Partial because I have a dream, and it
That
is a
one
white
day.
Christmas. And I would love to see full art Snowlands.
I think you and a lot of other Magic players would love to see full art Snowlands.
And just like a lot of Snow Permanents, they did so many cool things. I am a huge fan of the card Rhyme Scale Dragon. It was a 7-drop, 5/5 flying dragon that had 2 generic and snow. So you had to tap a snow land or a snow permanent tapped for mana. And you put ice counters on creatures, and creatures with ice counters don't untap. That is such a cool mechanic. It is a dragon with frost breath. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to yell.
No, that is very cool. I think Snow Permanents, because we've only seen Snow Permanents in 2 sets. We've seen them in Ice Age, and we've seen them in Cold Snap.
Right.
And both of them have had very, very interesting takes on these actual Snow Permanents. Now, I know, Greg, as we play Commander, like we do, a lot of times when you see a monocolored deck,
they're going to run Snowlands.
Well, they're going to run Snowlands because one of the cards that accelerates mana that is an artifact, so it can go in any color deck, is Extraplanar Lens. And Extraplanar Lens lets you exile a basic land, and when you exile that...
Whoa. I'm going to correct you there. It says exile any land you control. Yes, you could exile Gaia's Cradle. And make it, whenever you tap a Gaia's Cradle, it adds an additional whatever it tapped for. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but you can.
Okay, I stand corrected. So you may exile a land, and then lands that have the same name as the exiled land tap for an additional mana of land they can produce. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So
Remember, it's
see,
imprinted also, so people can use the Eldrazi processors to
processing
take
mechanic.
exiled cards that your opponents have and put them into their graveyard and make things like extraplanar lens useless.
Right. So if you've played the lens, you've imprinted your land, and then they process that land, your extraplanar lens does nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about rude.
Same with any imprint mechanic. Isochron Scepter,
Duplicant.
you name it. Yep. Same thing.
Mimic that.
Right. So you can see that a lot of these players like to use these snow lands, and why not give them full art snowlands? Craig, I think that's a great idea.
There's a deck in Modern that wants them too. And that's Skred Red.
Skred Red. Yep.
If you don't know what Skred is, it is a 1 red instant. Deal damage to target creature equal to the number of snow permanents you control.
Right.
And
Good deck.
It's a great way. Like, you get 5 lands out, you're like, awesome. I get to pay 1 red and deal 5 damage to a creature. Not very many creatures can survive that.
Right. Yeah. So that was the first mechanic that we threw up for voting was snow permanents.
It was the last one. There's the
the first one that we talked about because it was your favorite. Yeah. The next one, and we'll go through the rankings of which one won after we talk about all of them. But the next one we can talk about is cumulative upkeep. And what cumulative upkeep, it's been errated to now say during your upkeep you put is it an age counter?
Age
counter on this permanent. Then do whatever the upkeep cost is X amount of times, where X is the number of age counters on this permanent. So, for example, Mystic Remora costs 1 blue, and it has a cumulative upkeep of 1 blue. And every turn you must pay 1 blue plus the next turn, plus the next turn. So by making it counter specific, they simplified it. They made it a little more universal. Players can understand it a little more.
Oh, yeah, and you can proliferate it.
And you can proliferate it. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's kind of interesting. Although, personally, I'm a huge fan of Braid of Fire when it comes to cumulative upkeep.
True. Now, that also means that cards like Doubling Season will affect it as well.
That's true. They will.
Which it didn't used to before this rule change. Correct. So that's very, very interesting. Deep Glow Skate can hit cumulative upkeep cards. Wow.
Well,
that's crazy.
Long as you control them.
True. Okay. So now cumulative upkeep on the whole has usually had some sort of a cost associated with it, some sort of a negative aspect, oftentimes paying mana. However, we have seen in very, very corner cases positive cumulative upkeeps.
Are you talking about Jotun Grunt?
Well, I was talking about Herald of Leshrac, but either one, it actually gives you a positive effect. I think Herald of Leshrac's cumulative upkeep is gain control of a land your opponent controls.
It's gain control of a land you don't own.
You don't own. There you go.
Yeah.
So, I'll take 1 land the first turn. I'll take 2 lands the next turn.
But remember,
and so on.
You lose him eventually if they don't have enough lands.
Right. So, but if you, especially in Commander, I mean, you're going to have plenty of lands to look at there.
Yeah, but that's really rude.
That is very rude, exactly. But my point is, cumulative upkeeps don't always have to be negative. I mean, one of the comments that... What's that?
Braid of Fire is one of those cards, so yeah.
True, but Braid of Fire was also conceived in a realm of mana burn, so it was also, it was a sort of a double-edged sword there. But now that we don't have mana burn anymore, Braid of Fire is purely profit, as long as you can spend it during your upkeep. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But just thinking if they were to bring back cumulative upkeep, I mean, there's an entire infinite design space you could use with this. I mean, can you imagine using cumulative upkeep in the current standard, saying cumulative upkeep, take one of your opponent's energy, or remove one of your opponent's energy, or cumulative upkeep, you get a 1/1 vampire creature token with lifelink, or something like that. I don't know. Could be, the possibilities are literally endless.
There's a lot of interesting things. I don't know. I would like the idea to be able to take a counter off of a player. Might be a bit too powerful. I mean, being able to take poison or experience counters off of a player.
Ooh, now you're getting real saucy there, Greg.
But there's definitely some play space, and we'll have to defer to Wizards to see what they find is best. But I mean,
oh sure,
the return of cumulative upkeep, maybe good. Yeah,
could be interesting. Yeah.
So then,
how could we forget? We also have Solemnity.
Oh yeah,
which could absolutely negate any kind of cumulative upkeep. I mean, we see Solemnity played with things like Dark Depths and Glacial Chasm. I mean, these are things that just completely get broken when you have Solemnity out in the battlefield. So,
you know what other card gets broken from having Solemnity out?
What card is that?
As Foretold.
Yes, it does. Well, they're not broken. It just, you can't do anything.
No, you just get to drop 0-drops all day.
Oh my god.
Like Hypergenesis and Living Death or Unliving
Right, but
Death,
I mean, you can still drop 0-drops even when there's counters on there.
I mean, yeah, but now you can only drop 0-drops.
I want to see you play an As Foretold and then play a Solemnity and then win the game somehow. Doesn't have to be that turn. I want to see you do it.
I mean, sure. Could I just have them on the field and then win?
No. Okay. Anyway, we're getting a little sidetracked here. Our next mechanic that is specific to Dominaria alone is Rampage. Now,
I mean, Tika's Dragon?
Rampage is an ability that says, is it for every creature that blocks this creature
past the first one.
Beyond the first. That's right.
Beyond the first, yeah.
It gets +X, where X is the Rampage number.
Yeah.
So you had card types like gorillas. You had dragons, as you said, Tika's Dragon. A lot of people like to combo with Lure, forcing all your opponent's creatures to block one creature with Rampage, and it gets humongous.
Yeah.
Definitely a fun mechanic. And we're living in a world with Menace. So imagine a creature with Menace and Rampage. That would be incredibly strong.
Yeah. No, it'd be really good.
And I mean, you've also got cards like that 2-drop from Amonkhet, Trueheart Duelist. It can block an additional creature, Or wait, no, that's backwards. Never mind.
Well, no, if they reworded Rampage, if a creature can block more than one creature, it can block a creature with Rampage or Menace, and it would not count as an additional.
Really? So you could drop you could block a creature with Menace with Trueheart Duelist alone? I don't think so.
No,
I think it would have to be a different creature. Yeah. So we're gonna close the book here on Rampage, but it's a pretty cool mechanic. I like the idea of sending in something that has trample or whatever, force them to block with multiple creatures, but it has Rampage. Really force your opponent to make a decision there.
What was it? Craw Giant, right? That was the big
Craw one. Giant, yes. Had like Rampage 3, I think.
Yeah, and it couldn't be blocked by little creatures, and it had like trample or something.
Yes, yeah.
That was so cool.
That was such a huge creature, yeah. Okay, so we have Rampage, and then the last one that we put up was Buyback. Now, Buyback has been seen on quite a few cards, some of which were on Invocations from, I believe, Hour of Devastation.
Yeah, I think it was an hour for the Capsize reprint.
Capsize definitely the most iconic one, but other cards...
Lab Rats.
Okay, other cards like Whispers of the Muse have Buyback, where you can just draw cards and keep that card in your hand. Buyback is a very, 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 very powerful mechanic. Some mates might say it is almost too powerful.
Forbid has Buyback, right?
Forbid has Buyback, correct. And that was a Invocation as well. So Forbid and Capsize were two Invocations that had Buyback on them. Now, the interesting thing about Capsize, which they haven't really printed in recent Magic is return a permanent to its owner's hand, not non-land permanent. So if you're able to buy that thing back a couple times, you can start bouncing your opponent's lands, really just creating an unfun game for your
Everybody
opponent to be
except
playing.
yourself.
Exactly, And I think, playing all your blue spells all the time, not letting other people play their cards. Um, I'd have to quote Sean McLaren playing his mono blue as foretold turns deck when he said, "Magic, the way it was meant to be played."
I just had a horrible thought.
What's that?
What if, just say a what if, you played the capsize and you had out that primal amulet that when you get 4 counters, it flips?
Yeah.
So, I mean, capsize and buyback for 5 strong, but what if you make it so that every other turn you're copying it too?
Yeah. Yeah, that seems incredibly strong.
Or swarm intelligence, and you're always copying it. Screw
and then
you.
throw Sunbird's Invocation in there as well, so that you're just, casting everything.
I mean,
so
all the 2 drops.
Yeah. Or
3 drops.
Why not use that Traveler's Amulet flipped, or whatever the amulet is, cast yourself a Rishkar's Expertise. Draw yourself a butt ton of cards. And then you can play 2 more cards for free because you copied it. Woo!
Whoa. Don't forget. If you had that Sunbird's Invocation, you'd be also playing a free spell.
Oh my gosh! And then since you attacked with Yidris, you'd all be cascading into a whole bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah, there's a lot of stupidity, but most of those cards we were just talking about were standard legal.
Yeah. Oh my God! Can you imagine if Yidris were standard legal?
God, Maelstrom Wanderer.
Yeah. Anyway, moving back to what we were talking about. So these 4 mechanics: buyback, rampage, cumulative upkeep, and snow permanence. According to our votes here, we got about 40 votes here on Twitter.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Considering we're so big time.
I know. Thanks so much for voting, guys. We really do appreciate it.
We really do. Yeah, it means a whole lot to us, and we love talking about it. We love sharing people's opinions and feedback. So, awesome job, guys. But, in 4th place, we have Rampage with 8% of the votes. In 3rd place, we have Cumulative Upkeep with 10%. In 2nd place, Craig, it's your snow.
I think it was 31%.
31%. You got it with snow permanence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then buyback takes the cake with 51% of the votes. So,
now, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think that some of these votes were kind of cast this way because the player base does not know about some of these abilities?
It could be. It genuinely could be. These are old mechanics that not everybody knows about. And
I mean, sure, we've seen buyback and snow, but...
Right. And with these invocations, we've obviously seen buyback very, very recently, and people who either play Modern or Commander would only be the ones who've been exposed to snow permanence. So, no, you bring up a very good point. So, we'll see what ends up coming out. And for all of you new players out there, if you want to research some of these and start building decks that include cards with Rampage and cumulative upkeep, absolutely do it, and let us know what you find out, or if you find any busted combos that, come as a result of your experimentation. But anyway, yeah, so that's going to kind of wrap it up for our abilities segment here. And I think we're actually getting to time here. So, Greg, was there anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap it up?
I've been playing a lot of Massive Darkness lately, and it's been a lot of fun.
Ooh, Massive Darkness. What kind of game is that?
It is a Dungeon Delve board game put out by Cool Mini or Not and Guillotine Games. And it's kind of a spiritual successor to Zombicide. But it's a simplistic way to play a Dungeon Delve game that's in-depth and challenging to play. But it's been a lot of fun. And I'm trying to come up with new ideas to play it differently just because why not?
Nice. Yeah, I've been taking a little break from Destiny. I was going really hard on that for a while, but taking a little bit of time off. I think my highlight from this week would be I binge watched start to finish in anticipation of season 2 coming out tonight.
No, it's not
Stranger
Stranger
Things.
Things.
I have not seen any of it until this week, and I loved it.
It's
Absolutely
good,
loved
right?
it.
The
It's really
Demigorgon?
good. What's that?
The Demigorgon?
The Demigorgon, yes. I love how they were shooting it with the slingshot during that episode. And for those of you who haven't seen it, we won't give you any spoilers. I mean, it's really, really good. It's if you have Netflix, go and check it out. Stranger Things and season 2
Oh,
debuts tonight at midnight. This is Thursday.
if we're talking about Netflix exclusives, did you see Bright? The trailer for it? I mean, it's not out for another month, but
No, I've
Will
not seen
Smith
Bright.
in LA, but it's an LA that's not just humans. There's elves and fairies and goblins and orcs.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Crazy.
No,
Crazy.
it seems like it's going to be a great movie, and that's coming
Wow.
out. Go watch the trailer.
Yeah. And one other thing that I've been kind of brewing around in my mind, and didn't want to go too deep into it because it's still just kind of a twinkle in my eye, but I really, really want to start making this Mardu deck because I really want to abuse Claim to Fame.
You mean
I
Mardu
mean,
vehicles?
no, no, not
Okay, because
vehicles.
there
I'm
was a
talking
vehicle
about.
deck that did really well recently in a standard event actually.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, well, I'm talking about like maybe a little bit of Remnant Red, maybe a little bit of just a new sort of black aggressive deck. But what I want to do is just take Claim to Fame and look at the cards that it's good with, or could be really good with, like Glorybound Initiate. I mean, for 3 mana, do you want a 6 power lifelink creature? Hastily attacking your
No,
opponent?
no, mm-mm.
Or do you want to claim your Earthshaker Kenra back onto the battlefield, forcing one of your opponent's creatures not to block for 1 black mana, and then giving something else haste and attacking in? Or do you want to give your Gifted
You're
Aetherborn?
dreaming here, man. You're dreaming.
Do you want to bring your Gifted Aetherborn out of the graveyard, give it +2/+0 and haste, and swing in for 4 damage lifelink? And then all the while casting Dusk and Dawn to control the field that way? Like, okay. I got to go a little bit deeper into actually building this. Oh, and Harsh Mentor. Harsh Mentor's real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be working on that. Hopefully, creating a deck tech, maybe even a deck tech video for our YouTube channel. We need to start churning out some content if people are going to be subscribing.
Yeah, that's my
Speaking
fault. I'm
of
sorry I
which,
haven't made anything.
oh no, it's fine. We're still in the infant stages. And speaking of infants, I've got 2 little ones that I'm trying to take care of, so time is precious. But anyway, let's cut to the good stuff. If you want to win a Torrential Gearhulk from us for free, all you got to do is head on over to our YouTube page. Link is in the show notes. Or you can search us up on YouTube, The Win Condition, and scroll down until you see our logo. If you subscribe to our page, you will be entered to win a Torrential Gearhulk. That's it. No questions asked. You don't have to pay anything. Just win. Just win, baby. So,
I mean,
anyway,
they do have to pay for their internet, right?
well, unless you're using your parents' internet.
Ooh.
Oh, wait, I am the parent. My kids are using my internet.
Wait, are
I
you
played
actually
myself.
on the internet, or or is it your wife that's on the internet?
We're all on the internet
Okay.
constantly. By the way, we are brand new on Stitcher, so you can check us out now on iTunes, Stitcher, Shout Engine, SoundCloud, and the MTG Cast Network. Anyway, Greg, where can they find you if they want to get a hold of you and talk about Bright?
Nowhere. Oh wait, I'm on Twitter. Noob/2003.
Excellent. And you can find me at MTG_Sean. The show is at The Win Condition Podcast. I'm sorry. The show is at The Win Condition. Our email address is thewinconditionpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our Twitch at twitch.tv/teamwincondition. Head on over to our YouTube page. Check out what we got so far, and we will be building our
is that
library.
YouTube page also the Win Condition Podcast?
It's some weird jumble of letters and numbers currently. It's like, u.tube, whatever. But yeah, we'll
You
post
mean
a
they
link in the
can't
show
find
notes if
us
you want to
there?
get quick access there.
Okay.
But anyway, all that being said, Greg, thanks again.
Don't forget, we are brought to you by.
Oh my gosh, how could I forget? Greg, do you want to take this?
We're brought to you by Flipside Gaming. We are great fans of them. Remember, if you have any needs that you need singles, sealed product, go on ahead over to flipsidegaming.com. And anything over $10, put in our code, the win condition, all in caps, and you'll get, was it 10% off?
I'm so proud of you, Greg.
And, by you guys doing this, that also means that we get some extra funds so that we can give more things away. Like that torrential gear Hulk in the show notes.
Greg, your promo skills are outstanding. I commend you on that. That was awesome.
I mean, it's not like I sell furniture for a living.
All right. Well,
enough of plugging ourselves.
Let's get out of here.
You guys have a great evening.
Yep. Thanks everybody for listening, and we will see y'all next week.